Well, hi everyone. I'm back at what used to be State Park Speedway. This is my first time here since June, and thought I'd do another video here, see what the place looks like. Front entrance looks pretty much the same. That jig sign's still there. What's definitely different here is the grandstands are gone. I know that these old grandstands, they went to a rodeo place in Medford. I don't know the exact name, but that's where they're at. And I know the sun's here, so just deal with me. It's later in the day, so. But here, I'll get over there in a minute. But here's the playground. Not a playground anymore. All the equipment's gone. It's where the kids club used to be. We also had a bathroom here. That's gone. Not really much left. That's where that's where a concession stand used to be. Entrance to the pit area. Used to be a building there. That's gone. Here, the turn one grandstands. They were a newer grandstand. They're no longer here too, but they are at the Dells Raceway Park. They're up on the hill of turn 4 there. So some of you probably have seen those grandstands during the race season. But those are the grandstands from State Park Speedway. This used to be like a taco bar, or they did stuff like that there. Here, I'm gonna walk over back by the buildings. I'm pretty much walking where the grandstands used to be. See the announcer's booth still there. And the stairs are even still there. I did not go up there. The stairs seemed a little shaky, so I decided not to risk injury or whatever. There's probably not really much up there to see anyway. So, but here up in front, the signage is still there. The Budweiser, the State Park Speedway sign. I would love to see someone take those signs down and keep them and preserve them some way. The flag stand's gone. Here's the Speedway bar. This used to be in the souvenir stand. There's the window to it. There's still some signage there too. Hoosier large flags for $8 and small flags for $5. Here's the Speedway bar. There's really nothing much left in there. I did peek through the window. This is an open area right here. Here's the old concession stand building. I think they might have had an office back there, because this I know this window over here used to have some posters in it. They are finally gone. It looks like just some office furniture in there now. Nothing much in there. Just it's been all cleared out. There's an old sign for the Central Wisconsin Storm Girls hockey team. That's about it in there. This is how you would get into the concession stand area. Out here they would have like a grill, cooking up the hamburgers and the hot dogs and the brats. There would be a bathroom there too. You can see the old signage for the men's and women's bathroom. This is where the deck used to be. That is completely gone. There's some chairs left. That's about it. Not sure what happened to that, but here, I'm gonna head back towards the pit area. I'm gonna film in the pit area a little bit, and then I'm gonna take a lap or two around the track. I'm gonna talk about my kind of like life story with racing and how I got into it and what racetracks I went to when I was younger and then eventually ended up in Wausau. I'll get to that in a couple minutes. Here's a good shot at the announcer's booth. The door's actually open. Not gonna go up there though. That rail was really kind of moving around, so I'm not gonna take that chance. A lot of stuff's been ripped up. We got a bunch of old wood all over the place. Slowly taking this place apart. Walking on the back midway. This would be behind the grandstands. Some birds flying around. Old table. Left behind. Really cool here. This is the pit entrance. This is where you go after the races if you stayed that long. But this is the parking lot. But you know, you would wait over here, and we would have to wait for the tow trucks and the ambulance to leave, and then the fans can go in, and then that's when you can start. You know, just hanging out, having fun, partying after the races, and that's a big thing at every racetrack. It's just half the fun. So that's where the pit building was at. Old Sunoco sign up on that board. I believe that's where they put like the heat race lineups or all the race lineups and qualifying and stuff. Over here they had trailers for like race tires and other equipment. That's gone. This is where the scale was at. It's where you got your car weighed after feature races and made sure you were legal or whatever. Just some wood pallet left behind there. You got some old pit slabs here, kind of in the middle here, but this is not many. Those weren't really used too much, but drivers would park their cars right along here. Pit slabs are still here. There's a bunch of wood everywhere. Mainly over here would be the late models, the pure stacks. And occasionally they bring in like legend cars, or bandoleros, and then the 4 cylinders, they mainly parked in the back. Didn't really see them over here with the late models and pure stacks too much. And here we're gonna show you the pit slabs. They're all still here. That concrete's coming up pretty good. You can see that the fencing is still here. I thought it was gone, or I thought more of this was kind of torn up, but I guess this fencing and wall is still here, but some of it's gone. We'll get to that in a minute. And this is where the 4-cylinder teams would pit. Some of the late model teams might pit over here too, like the Winecrofts like to pit over here. And this is what it looks like today, a big dirt mound. They're doing something back there. There's some equipment back there. Not going to go over there and film that, but just wanted to film the back area a little bit. And there's Here's the entrance to the racetrack. Now you can see here the fencing and the wall is gone pretty much up until like the scoreboard. There's the infield. You can tell this has not been mowed in quite a while. There's an old trailer and open trailer and a closed trailer out there. They've been there all summer. I don't know what. I guess they'll be removed from here one day, but I'm pretty much sure the track had those, so they're just left behind. You can see the old scoreboard still there. I'm guessing it'll be knocked down one day. I don't think anyone's going to want it at this point. So anyway, out on the racetrack, I'm going to talk a little bit about my race story. I'm 40 years old, and I was born in 1985, so pretty much grew up in the 90s. We'll put that out for context, but my parents brought me to my first race in 1990 at a track called Santa Fe Speedway in Hinsdale, Illinois. And my dad would bring me there for the next couple of years until that track closed in 1995. It was a dirt track. They had a quarter-mile and a half-mile. He also brought me to like this other track called Kankakee County Speedway. That's another dirt track in Kankakee, Illinois. But right after Santa Fe closed, then my dad started going to like asphalt tracks. He always knew of them, but he never really went to them. That's when we started going to. There were 3 tracks. There was one in Blue Island, Illinois called Raceway Park. That closed in 2001, so that's long gone. There was the Ileana Motor Speedway, which I'm sure a lot of people probably know about. That closed in 2015. I actually did a video there about 2 years ago. Maybe I'll leave a link to that in somewhere on my Facebook or something if you guys want to see that video. And then I did one at I went to my dad would bring me to the Grundy County Speedway in Morse, Illinois. That track is still running. And seems to be doing fairly well. And I kind of sporadic, when I got older, I got a driver's license in 2003 when I was 18. I started kind of going to races more on my own. My dad kind of stopped going to races too, so I would go by myself, but I always had friends there to meet up with, so I would go to Grundy County and Ileana, maybe Kankakee. I started taking trips to Wisconsin too. Actually, my first Wisconsin racetrack was back in 2001. Here, I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see my face better. My first Wisconsin racetrack, it was like in June 5th, I think, of 2001. So I would have been 15 years old. I went to me, my dad, my brother, we took like a family vacation, and I talked my dad into going to Dells Raceway Park, and that was my first Wisconsin racetrack. Then getting back to 2003 when I got my driver's license, I started going to like taking sporadic trips up to Wisconsin. Now here, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. In 2002, some of you might know I used to do websites. My first website was the kind of covering the NASCAR Remax Challenge Series, which I'm sure a lot of you might know about. Here, I'm going to turn the camera around again so you guys can see the racetrack. I'll just continue talking. Maybe I'll flip the camera a couple times so you can see my face, but where was I at? Yeah, I did a website on the NASCAR Remax Challenge Series. I did it for 2 years, 2002, 2003 race season. In between there, I started doing a website for a race car driver by the name of Jeremy Lepak, and did that for 2 years, and that's when I went to the Golden Sand Speedway a couple times to see him race. We only did that for 2 years. At that time, we did bring the website back. I think it was like 2011, 2012 as well for Jeremy Lepak, but then I stopped doing it then. But that was my thing with websites. I also did a website for a while on the history of the Art Go Challenge series. I had it for a number of years, but I never really kept up with it. I deleted that site like probably 5-6 years ago. But I did try to do that, but never really kept up with it too well, so eventually just gave up on it and stopped paying for all that. Well, that was kind of my website history, but getting back to Jeremy Lepak, he was kind of the first driver I knew in Wisconsin, and I would see him race every so often. I would go up to Golden Sands and stuff. I might even catch him at other tracks like Madison or Slinger or something like that, and that's when I started going to like this. I always would go to like maybe the Slinger Nationals a couple times, or Madison. I know used to do Tuesday night specials. I went to one of those tracks. I was working a lot on the weekends back then, so going to those Tuesday night specials was actually better for me to take those once in a while trips up to Wisconsin. Oh yeah, another website I did. I forgot. I did a website for Brent Strekla for 2 years. That was in 2005, 2006. And I'm still friends with him today, as well as Jeremy Lepak. So that was another website. And I would go up to Wisconsin International Raceway and maybe see him race a couple times. So it was another track I would go to. That'd be on Thursday nights. And then this track, State Park, my first trip here was in 2006 or 2006. Here, I'm gonna. So, I know that year could have been the track's last year. Phil Bickley was kind of giving up the reins, so he did 3 or 4 race programs that year. And at that point, it could have been the last year for the track. I was at the Larry Degens race that year. It was just a one-day event. I think it was on Thursday night or whatever. There was a lot of people here, too. I remember that. So, I went to that event. That was my first time at State Park. I would make my next trip would be, I believe, 2014. It was the Degens race as well. That's back, that's when the Wimmers eventually took over. It was a weekend special, Friday, Saturday night. I was up here for the weekend. And that was a fun time. It was kind of like my, I don't know. I kind of remember 2006 a little bit, but 2014 was like my first really big experience here, I would say. So, actually, wait. Back around, the sun's in my face. And 3 years later, 2017, I decided to move to Wausau. Got a new job. That's when I really started going to, get my hand on the lens, but that's when I really started to go to different racetracks, and I'm just gonna put it this way. I think I'd rather keep it on the racetrack than on me, so I'm going to take it probably another lap around the track and just keep talking here. But moved here in July 2017. Eventually just started going to races like every weekend. State Park was my home track, but I also started checking out other tracks like Golden Sands again and Marshfield, and I think I went to Tomahawk once or twice, and SK Speedway up in Unity, and I eventually started going to I remember going to Shawano once in 2017, and Wisconsin. I don't know if I went to Wisconsin International Raceway that year, but I might have went there in 2018. But I really started going to races a lot, just trying out different tracks. And let's see, at the end of the season at State Park, this is where my kind of first racing video came from. What started me to get filming races, it was the final points race. I believe it was on a Saturday night. They did a mechanics race. Bobby Volm hopped into Travis Pierce stack, and he won the race, and I just filmed that for him. I filmed the whole victory lane thing and everything, and that was a pretty good video, and that's what got me the idea. So I was good friends with Travis Volm and the Volm family, and just started filming for Travis Volm wherever he raced at. And he'd race here, he'd go to Golden Sands, Marshfield a little bit, Dells Raceway Park a little bit. I eventually filmed for his cousin Alex, filmed too, I think 2 years later. You know, just kind of went to those same tracks I mentioned with his Pier Stack. He would eventually get a late model too. But I have separate YouTube channels with all those videos. And then, I'm trying to think, it was midway through 2023, I started kind of, not just filming for Travie, but just started filming all the races. Like I would film the 4 cylinders, the Pier Stacks. It was the full lineup for the night at State Park, Golden Sands, and Marshfield. Not every show, but when I wanted to. And I would upload them on my 3rd channel, which was Wisconsin Stock Car Racing Videos. I probably got over 300 videos by now. I also did some filming at Dells Raceway Park this season too. But a lot of videos on there, especially with the last season at State Park. I got that last race program was back in August when that was the Legends 55 and the Phil Bickley race in honor of him. I think it was August 24th. I don't know the date, but or the exact date. But the Legends ran a 5,000 to win race that day. They did their heats or consies, their last chance, and they ran a 55-lap feature. The late models, the Pier Stocks, the mini mods, mini stocks, and bandos did like kind of like a feature only deal that night. You know, or that afternoon, I should say. And they got to run their one last race. Then they kind of did like a race party. It was considered the banquet that night at the track. And that was just a fun time. And then there was one other event in October. It was the Creepy Crawly Classic ISS Enduro race. That was actually ran, I'm filming this on Saturday, October 11th, and tomorrow, which will be Sunday, October 12th. But it was pretty much 1 year ago on October 12th that the last race event was ran here, the Enduro. There was kind of 2 endings to the track. All the regular divisions, then they had the Enduro. So kind of 2 endings, 2 endings to the racetrack. Part 1, Part 2. I guess you can kind of look at it. People probably remember more of the August event than the Enduro. But, yeah. So, and, I even got some video of that Enduro. I got it's on, I do have it on YouTube. It's kind of like the last 50 laps. Travis Vaughn was doing that race, so I kind of did that more. I did that for him a little bit, but, for everyone else too. And I filmed the victory lane. We're getting towards the start-finish line here again. And got to film that final thing at the track. There's also one other thing I filmed. It's on Facebook, but it was Kurt Keene giving his final sign-off, you can say. I'm actually I'll get to the start-finish line. I'll kind of get to the spot where I filmed it. It's only a 30-second video, but it's emotional. And I'd be like right here. He's talking for the microphone, saying how he loves State Park. This is a great place. He's going to miss it. And then he was talking about Golden Sands a little bit because there was the Enduro at Golden Sands coming up 2 weeks later. And then, he walked towards the flag stand. He's like signing, his final words were like signing off Kurt Keene. I love State Park Speedway, and you can see him shedding a tear, or hear him shedding a tear. Like, he was crying it with a lot of emotion. And I'm sure a lot of us were that day too. So, and just a very sad time, indeed. Here, while I'm at it, here's the old victory lane. Obviously, overgrown with grass now. There used to be some really nice landscaping they did here. A little bit in the sun here, so apologize for that. And up here, it's gone. There's only some wooden planks left. There would be signage here, I think they had like the Brickners of Wausau sign here, which sponsored the Victory Lane. There's the old trailer. Not going to go in that, but there used to be a deck here. There was. I don't think I was ever on that deck, but there would people, workers up there just kind of watching the races and waiting for something to happen. They had to hop in their tow truck or whoever was out here working. So that was their way of paying attention to the races. And, track photographers too. Here's some of the trees left. So there's some of the old landscaping. You would pull in over there, get your photos, and then you pull out. Or some drivers even went in the other way, too. Sometimes they might have even did it on the track, by the start-finish line. But, I'm going to pause the video for a moment and climb up that ladder. I don't want to try to film with, I don't want to film when I'm trying to climb a ladder. It's okay. Just kind of back in the main, where the grandstands would have been. Another thing I didn't mention yet, I went to Oktoberfest every year at La Crosse. Just came back from that about a week ago. And that's a yearly thing for a lot of race fans in Wisconsin. Been doing that for 19 years, so that's another big part of my life. So anyway, what does my future hold for racing? I will, I'll continue to go to races and continue to maybe do some filming. I don't know how much. I hope to, continue doing it for a long time to come, but who knows? I like it, but, how long will I be doing it for? I don't know. There could be some opportunities for me, too, to do other things. I won't get into that right now. So, anyway, here, I'm going to turn the camera around. You'll be able to see my face. Anyway, thanks for watching. This being back here again is just, there's no words to describe it, Eventually this is all going to get torn up. I know it will be. Turn the camera around again. Eventually this track will get torn up. How soon, I don't know. But there it is. Well, the fencing's still here. There's still a lot to be done here, obviously. I mean, I know they're going to turn this into biking trails, or I've heard something about coffee shop or a bicycle repair shop or some kind of brewery, stuff like that. But I don't know, like a recreational area too. Campground. There's plans for all that on having like the Rothschild or Rib Mountain town website. You can take a look at that if you want, but anyway, just thought I'd do this again. I mean, I'm not going to say if this will be the last time I'll ever do a video like this, but I thought it'd be important to do it again. So, anyway, thank you again, everyone, for watching, and continue to support your local racetrack. Bye.